This is Fido Friendly Travel Talk. Here's your host, Susan Sims.
Hey everybody, it's Susan Sims with Fido Friendly Travel Talk, where we talk about the travel and lifestyle for you and your best friend. And today's guest is my good friend, Jill Lane. She is the owner and proprietress of the Historic Doc Tilton House in Nashville, Indiana. Hi, Jill. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Susan, and hello, all those wonderful folks that are listening to Fido Friendly and tuning into Fido Friendly Magazine.
It's just a pleasure to be able to talk to you today. And because I've experienced the Historic Doc Tilton House myself with my husband and our little dog, Honey, I have kind of a little the 411 on what everything's about. So, but in your own words, what brought you to Nashville, Indiana? Not to be confused with Nashville, Tennessee. And what brought you to
That's exactly right.
What brought you to decide that this is a place you wanted to live and also purchase this wonderful historic place?
Well, to start with, I am a Hoosier, so I have to admit that. So I came back to Indiana from New Mexico, where I had been living for about the last 15 years, and decided it was time to return home to my Hoosier roots. So in doing that, I researched several different destinations and towns around Indiana and sort of landed on Nashville, Indiana, which I knew from my college days at Indiana University as being a great destination for tourism and outdoor recreation, history, art, a little bit of everything. And I really liked Nashville then. So I thought I would revisit and check it out. And when I did, I found out that the Historic Doc Tilton House was on the market and was available for purchase. So in researching the house, I came to find out that it had been owned by the same family for about 150 years. It basically had a one owner history. And I felt that was very rich in stories and in telling the story about Nashville and a little bit of their history as well. So the first thing I did was call up the realtor and said, is this a possibility of being a live-in home and an Airbnb simultaneously? And he said, yes, it would. So at that point, I set an appointment, flew out, and visited the house and absolutely fell in love with it. Now, the first thing that I was looking for was how pet-friendly is Nashville and how pet-friendly can the Historic Doc Tilton House be? And I will speak from experience, having been an owner of a family lodge for 15 years in the Rocky Mountains, that pet-friendly travelers and pet travelers themselves are the most conscientious and polite and great guests that you could possibly have.
Yes,
so
we are.
I wasn't worried.
Yeah.
So I was not worried about inviting guests or pets into my historic home. So I settled and bought the house on June 7th of 2021, and we spent about the next 4 months getting it ready for guests. So the first guests arrived on October 1st of 2021, and in that first grouping of guests, we did already have pets. So there is a very big demand by people who love to travel with their pets. And my first guest was a beagle. And I thought, oh, this is going to be fun because beagles talk a lot. and I had Betty Bulldog, and I thought this is going to be interesting to see how this goes. Well, Betty is shy, and the beagle, evidently, they took her out every day to Brown County State Park, which has many, many miles of trails. Mm-hmm. And they wore that poor puppy out hiking. So she would come back and crash. And we had no barking noise or anything. This weekend they were there. And she was an absolutely perfect guest. So my experience since that time is I gladly welcome pets into the Historic Doc Tilton House because I know they're going to be a great addition to the experience for everyone.
Well, tell us about the rooms that you have and how different they are. I know that we took over the upstairs, but what can people expect?
Yeah, I have one guest suite in the house, and that is the entire upstairs. So it has 2 bedrooms, And it has a third bedroom, which I converted into, I call it the game room parlor. It has a table and chairs, a sofa, TV, chess and checkers table. It's got jigsaw tables. It's got games, and then a small kitchenette where you can store your cold goods, and you can heat up your things that you want warm in the microwave. And then there's full coffee and tea service. And so you cannot cook a meal, but you can enjoy your leftovers from the many restaurants that we have here in Nashville, or keep that drink cold until you're ready to quench your thirst. So it's a nice roomy setup, because if you have like two couples traveling together, they don't have to interfere with the bedrooms. They can go into the game room and have, fun time together there.
Yeah.
And then in the backyard, we have a gazebo with a table and chairs there. So people can enjoy the outdoors and in great weather and sit and relax in the backyard. We have a fire pit, and we have a nice grassy lawn. So those folks that are traveling with their pets, they actually can bring their pet out into the back lawn. Now, the other advantage to the Historic Doc Tilton House, besides the fact that we're in the heart of the historic area of town, which is where everybody comes to, we are directly adjacent to a park. So we have an on-leash park right next to the house. So folks can bring their pets and go right out into the park or into the backyard, either one, and enjoy, and their pets can enjoy the shady trees and the grassy lawn and just get a fun little exercise right there within steps from the front door.
Yeah, that's really smart, because that's one of the things I know in travel, as we travel, and it's late night, the last call, so to speak, and where you're going to take your pet and how, and this is so convenient. And what the other thing I want to mention is you have a nice little curio shop set up, and so tell us a little bit about that, because we left with a few things. I mean, I have those in my office. It's just delightful, and you have so many cute and wonderful, very unusual things.
Well, when I bought the house, my plan was to have the Airbnb and to live there. So I actually live in the back part of the house, which was the Doc Tilton medical office, where he actually saw patients. And it's has a separate entrance from the front and the main part of the house. So it's nice because I can separate from the guests when they're there, and everybody has their own privacy. The gift shop came about as a result of realizing, after I was setting everything up, that the two front rooms, which were originally the formal dining room and the formal parlor, could really be, in addition to the Airbnb and my personal living space. So I thought it would be fun to open the doors up to the public and let them come in. So in the dining room, I turned that into a small curio shop, which is predominantly made in Brown County items like candles, ceramics, soaps, handcrafts, Christmas ornaments, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And then I filled it in with vintage items that I go to estate sales and find. And so it's sort of like going on a treasure hunt when you come in, because it changes constantly. I never know what I'm going to find when I go out antiquing. So there's a constant change of what's in there, and people love to come in and just sort of browse and reminisce. Oh, I had a Raggedy Ann just like that when I was little, and they will tell me stories and share, some history with me, which is wonderful. The parlor I turned into what I call a micro museum, which is a little bit of historic overview of the house's history and the family's history who owned the house, and some fun did you know facts about Brown County and Indiana. So I get a lot of people that come in and they just start asking me questions, and we end up having this wonderful conversation, and they go out and feel very, very good about just having a different little shopping and visiting experience when they come to Brown County.
Yeah, the town itself, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but it feels like if there were a Mayberry, that's what the town is, reminiscence of. And if people want to book a room, what is the best place? Where can you direct folks to go online and check it out and make a reservation?
I do Airbnb, so that's the best way to go. Just go to airbnb.com, put in Nashville, Indiana, and then the Historic Doc Tilton House, which is how it's listed. Now, I have told people, I've had people come in and say, well, I couldn't find it. Well, it's because it was already booked. So it doesn't pop up if it's confirmed, it's already booked. So what I tell people is if they want to specifically find my profile, then they can put in things like 2-night minimum, pet friendly. That way it narrows down the search in the Nashville area, and it'll bring them quicker to my site where they can stroll through. I've probably got about 50 pictures on there of inside, outside, different seasons, so people can get a feel of what the house looks like, a full description of all the things that they can expect when they're there, and just give them a little bit of an insight to the experience that they may choose to participate in.
Well, we'll put a link on Fido Friendly too, so that'll help folks if they don't remember exactly how to do the search. So I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. It was so much fun.
Thank you so much. And we really love Fido Friendly Magazine. As you know, we are pet friendly and pet lovers here extraordinaire. So we appreciate everything that you do at Fido Friendly.
Well, thanks. That's why we like you so much. Okay. All right. Until I see you again, my friend, you take good care.
You too.
For more information about today's guest or about traveling with your pet, log on to FidoFriendly.com. And remember, travel safe and leave no dog behind.